Hi everyone, this is Maxwell Jung, and today I will be presenting the article These New Tools Could Make AI Vision Systems Less Biased, published on September 25th, 2023, from MIT Technology Review. Before discussing this article, here's some background about the author Melissa Heikkila. Melissa graduated from the University of Helsinki in Finland with a Bachelor of Social Sciences in Communication and Media Studies. She's currently a senior reporter at MIT Technology Review, covering the various impacts of artificial intelligence on our society. She has written 117 articles at the MIT Technology Review, all of which relate to AI, and she has been listed as 100 Brilliant Women in AI Ethics in January of 2024. Before MIT Technology Review, she has been a journalist in Political Europe, where she covered AI policies and politics in Europe. She also previously worked as an editor, journalist, and news anchor at The Economist and YLE. The first article, These New Tools Could Make AI Vision Systems Less Biased, presents two techniques proposed by Sony and Meta for more accurately measuring bias in computer vision algorithms. Bias in computer vision can be characterized as any prejudice exhibited by the algorithm with regards to race, sex, disabilities, socioeconomic status, and more. For example, many image recognition algorithms tend to perform worse at recognizing minorities like black or brown women. Most bias in computer vision algorithms can be attributed to the image dataset used to train these algorithms. Because popular image datasets tend to be from the Western Hemisphere, they unintentionally overrepresent white male population and their ideals. Even though the learning algorithm itself is unbiased, the AI model will recreate any bias present in the dataset. If the dataset fails to cover the diverse human qualities and activities seen across the globe, the resulting AI model will be biased and can potentially perpetuate stereotypes. So given a computer vision model, how might one measure bias? One method is to compare the accuracy of the model with respect to skin tone from light to dark. Researchers at Sony, however, thinks that this one-dimensional skin tone metric is insufficient for detecting bias. They propose a two-dimensional metric They propose a two-dimensional metric to skin tone, taking into account the hue from red to yellow. They claim that this two-dimensional skin tone can more accurately differentiate between Asians who might fall into both light-skinned and dark-skinned categories and people who are older and younger. Researchers at Meta have developed a benchmark for detecting bias in computer vision algorithms. The benchmark consists of 32,000 images labeled with 13% attributes and 52% classes by expert annotators across the globe to minimize any regional biases introduced by these annotators. Developers of computer vision algorithms can compare the performance of their model with a benchmark to detect any bias with regards to perceived race, gender, and other personal related attributes. The second article, These Fake Images Reveal How AI Amplifies Our Worst Stereotypes, from the Washington Post, published on November 1st, 2023, highlights how AI-generated images can be stereotypical and does not accurately reflect the population in the real world. For example, as seen on the bottom left, the AI-generated image of a person at social services will always output a darker-skinned individual. Since 63% of food stamp recipients are white, according to the census, an unbiased model would output a light-skinned person at social services 63% of the time. When prompted a productive person, the AI will always generate an image of a male with light skin tone compared to darker-skinned people or a woman. Some other examples include an image of a house in the United States versus China versus India represented in a stereotypical fashion. Soccer players typically depicted as darker-skinned men and cleaning associated with smiling women. The article also found that the woman Latina more often produced sexually suggestive images. Looking into the dataset, a disproportionately high number of pornographic images were labeled with the word Latina. The author suggests that large companies in charge of these datasets must heavily invest in statistically accurate data collection, sampling, and cleansing, which requires a lot of time and money. In the meantime, minority groups underrepresented in the datasets will suffer the negative consequences of these AI models. I believe these articles are relevant for this class for 4 reasons. In some parts of the world, maybe even in the United States, computer vision algorithms are used to aid with policing and important decision making. For example, facial recognition, along with other vision-based tools, can be used to assess the risk of violent crime, eligibility for loans, employment, and even housing. Both articles highlight how AI models can be biased depending on the dataset used to train the model. So does that mean that we should not trust any decision derived from AI models? Given that humans are equally, if not more, biased than these AI models, I personally think that it might be less risky to trust AI decisions over human-made decisions. From a duty ethics perspective, I don't think it's unethical to release potentially biased AI models because the intentions of releasing such model is to improve the well-being of humanity. Since improving human well-being is a universally good concept, the developers of the AI models are acting ethically even if their AI models turns out to be biased and cause unintended harm. From a utilitarian perspective, if the bias severely negatively impacts the minorities in questions, the overall utility of releasing the AI model might be less than the utility of not releasing the model. In that case, releasing a potentially biased AI model is unethical. Is it unethical for companies to hide the dataset used to train these AI models? Both articles emphasize that dataset be publicly accessible so that anyone can review the dataset for biases. But does forcing companies to release datasets violate any copyrights and intellectual property ethics? Finally, I propose the following 4 discussion questions. Should companies publicly release the dataset they use to train their AI models? Would you rather make a decision based on a biased AI model or a biased human being? Who would be responsible for the potential damages caused by the biased AI models? And what are some ways to minimize bias in datasets?